Good afternoon, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be with you.
We just talked about some of the many things that Haiti is facing, and I am curious from you, why do you think that Haiti is in such dire straits right now?
It is unfortunate to see that, to see this unfolding under our eyes. But I will tell you that this is a total of many years of mismanagement and many years of political instability. It is not something that occurred overnight, but has been a kind of combination of all of those. But today, we are just feeling the results of those years. And I would say that, as you just well pointed out, it is a country really on the edge of collapse.
I want to talk to you about international assistance. U.S. Secretary of State, we just read some things, but Anthony Blinken held a press conference with the Canadian Foreign Minister, and he talked about a draft resolution that they are working on at this point. Let's listen to what he has to say.
I think it's a shared view that more likely needs to be done for the national police in support of them to allow them to get a real grip on security and to take back these parts of the capital that the gangs have been dominating. So there is now a second draft resolution in the works at the United Nations after the initial resolution on sanctions that would authorize a non-UN international assistance mission.
So I'm curious, do you or your government right now support a military intervention by outside nations?
Listen, the world is a global village, as we always say. Therefore, Haiti now, as a member of the international community, is facing such a dire situation where it is really under grasp of armed gangs with a firepower even more superior than the national police, the only force we have. Therefore, it's very important for us to call international partners, our international friends, to help. It's like you are calling your neighbor when your house is under fire. I mean, it is not something that we are calling for an occupation or whatsoever. It is only an international assistance that can help the national police to regain control and restore law and order, because it's impossible to accept that in this day and age, 4 million kids have not been able to go back to school. Grandma and grandpa, if they need to go to the hospital, they cannot go because all the roads are blocked. So if you have a patient that needs dialysis, you cannot go and get it. So it's a very dire situation that we cannot stay idle and looking at it. We need to do something. And the only way to do something is the assistance of our international friends.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent my youth in Miami, where there is a huge Haitian population, and it just is a dagger to the heart to see Haiti going through this yet again. I do want to talk about, though, intervention and some of the failures of interventions in times past. There's been at least 3 major foreign military interventions in Haiti since the time of Haiti's independence from France in 1804. And most recently, you had some issues with the UN peacekeeping operation. There were allegations of sexual misconduct and something that the UN apologized for, which is introducing cholera to Haiti, which is something that Haiti is dealing with right now. So why call for military intervention from the U.S. or elsewhere if you've seen some of these problems before?
Yes, that's absolutely true. We had some really bad experiences with particularly the UN forces that stay in the country for the last 14 years. It is a fact, and we understand that. But it is also a fact, looking at a country where everyone is talking inside the house, they cannot go out. All private businesses are closing down. A lot of people are going to unemployment. And people who need care cannot go and get care. So this is a real fact as well. So I understand the most important thing is we need to find a way not to repeat the same mistakes. As the U.S. Secretary Blinken has said, it is probably going to be a non-UN our international coalition. And I believe that that's the way it should be going. But at the same time, remember, I said that before, it is not going to be an intervention or occupation force. It is going to be a kind of international assistance to the national police, not to come to do the job for the national police, but what we are seeking is to come to help the national police to do the job to restore order, and so we can create a better environment for the people, for the kids to go back to school, for every citizen can manage their own business, and to prepare to pave the way for the general elections, free and fair and democratic elections, because our democratic institutions need to be restored.
Let me talk to you about elections. At this point in time, we haven't seen an election since 2016, and there have been a lot of issues. First of all, you've had protests in Port-au-Prince over the possibility of new foreign intervention, and then you also have several things coming forward about the Prime Minister Henry, one of which is a judge basically saying that he determined that Mr. Henry had something to do with the assassination of Jovenel Moïse. So the question to you is, when will those elections come, and what do you make of this determination by a judge that Mr. Henry had something to do with the assassination of the president?
I mean, up to now, it has not been proven. That is the reality. You know, whenever we are in politics, there has been always accusations, and the Prime Minister has said that even before. It has nothing to do with it, but we will let our justice system work because we just don't want to be meddling into the judicial procedure. But the most important thing is it's very important for us, for all Haitians, to work together and then find a national consensus. And then while we are getting help from our international partners, but at the same time we are working to make sure that we prepare the ground to have free and fair and democratic elections. Because it is the most important thing to be thinking about, to have democratic institutions stand up again. Because right now, we don't have any. That's why we have to push for elections. But before getting to elections, we need to restore law and order. And our national police itself cannot, because they have proved impossible to resolve everything, because the gangs are well armed, the firepower is far more superior than the national police. Therefore, there is no way we can solve this on ourselves. We need international assistance to do that.
So, Ambassador, you're saying there's no way that you can solve this issue by yourself, that you need intervention from other nations. But I guess the question is, since Prime Minister Henry was not voted into office, he has been there now for about a year's time since the assassination of Mr. Moïse. When can those elections happen? I mean, do you have a date where you say, okay, let's put this forward? Because some of the unrest is likely coming from people thinking that Mr. Henry is an illegitimate leader. Okay,
whoever would be in power now, they will have getting the same thing, the same judgment, the same consideration. But the most important thing is someone has to do the job. And it happens to be Prime Minister Henry who has the job. But the end mission is to hold elections and for the people to be able to choose their legitimate leaders. But we cannot talk about elections today in such an environment where kids cannot go to school, where no one can go to work. Public offices, private businesses are all closing down because for security reasons, people cannot go out.
But
so we need to restore law and order first.
I understand that, but it has been 6 years since there has been an election in Haiti, and it seems that you could certainly talk about it and try and figure out when this might work. Isn't it a good time for elections if you get that help? Can you say, look, the moment we get that help, we'll start the process?
Let me give you that guarantee. While we are working with our international partners, we come to the point where law and order are being restored with the help of our international friends. We certainly believe that the political stakeholders, they are currently working to find a national consensus. And I believe out of that national consensus, we will have a new electoral council, and they will be the one to decide and propose to the government the date where elections can be held. Because the government, the executive itself, cannot decide on the electoral date. The electoral council, the members, they have to decide themselves with technicians when it is appropriate, when it is feasible. That's what I can tell you now.
Okay, let me ask you this. I know that you cannot, and no one gets to start history where they want to start history, and it's no secret that Haiti's independence was not welcomed by much of the world who relied on slavery, and these were former slaves that created
Absolutely.
their own country. And that, you know, the United States didn't even consider Haiti trade or diplomatic relations until decades after its independence. So there is a history happening here that plays into this role, but Haiti has its own issues with corruption, and the country's seen something like 30 coups since its independence. So I want to ask you, how much of the situation in Haiti is a problem with sort of the local leadership, and how much of the situation in Haiti is a problem with how Haiti has been treated by the international community over the years?
Yeah, as you well pointed out, we do have a really very shaky history with some international friends we do have today. But those are historical facts, and those are also the past. The most important thing is we need to continue to work with our international partners, our international friends, and to make sure that we work to build a new Haiti. But a new Haiti can be built without the youth, without the members of civil society, without the participation of every stakeholders of the society. That's where it's very important to have a national consensus and to make sure that we build a new country, we define a new way forward for this country, but by thinking on the future of the kids, because we just don't want to leave the Haiti today to our future generation. We need to do something now, today. And today, while we are doing something, but I must tell you, we cannot do anything now on ourselves. We need international help because the situation is really dire, and there is no way we can go forward without that international help. Ourselves alone, we cannot. That's why we need to build that political stability and to make sure that we can call and we can draw foreign and direct investment. And I must tell you as well that now we are working with Congress, with the United States Congress, to renew the Hope and Help law that has been voted 10 years ago after the earthquake that gave Haiti a lot of possibilities to export to the U.S. market. But unfortunately, due to political instability, we still cannot really enjoy that law to the fullest extent.
Yes,
now, that's why, more than ever, we need a political stability.
Ambassador Bocchit, Edmond, thank you so much for joining us. I know that stability is really important just in general, and the safety of the people of Haiti as well. Thank you for joining the program.